Andrew McCART, IFL TV in association with MTK Global. I'm here in Edinburgh. I'm in AAA boxing gym with me. I've got Alex Arthur. Alex, it's been a heck of a long time, mate. What's been going on?
Aye, I know. It has been a while, eh? I think the last time you were up here would have been about 6 months ago, was it?
Yeah, when this place just opened, I think, aye?
Yeah, I think so, aye.
So how's the gym going?
Crazy, aye, everything's gone great. Got a lot of the kids from Meadowbank in now, training for the pre-season fights coming up. So, aye, we've been busy every single day. We've got young Jack Turner in most days. Aye, busy.
I just say, obviously, the videos you put up is videos of your two young boys, with two young boys, Macklin and Junior, Alex Junior.
Yeah.
Again, I've seen them hit the bags. They've got a few fights coming on. Are they going into the new season?
Aye, they, but of course, aye. Well, Macklin's got a national open title to defend. He's the reigning Scottish champion. So Junior will be going for his first title this year. So he's really excited about that. He's been training hard as well, right through the school holidays. He never really had a day off. I was actually getting to the point where I was like, you think you need a wee bit of rest? You've trained like right through. Since his last fight, really. So he just had a weekend there at the Leeds Festival with all his pals, and I think he's still in his bed now.
Good stuff. Well, you mentioned Jack Turner there. For people that don't know, Jack was a very accomplished Scottish amateur.
Yeah.
Has he turned pro?
Aye, he's in the process of turning pro now. As you know, there's loads of things that you need to go through, medicals, licences, and getting everything right. So I'm speaking to the boys at MTK. We've got a meeting this week about coming together to work with Jack, so that could be exciting times ahead.
Very special young talent, Jack, isn't he?
Aye, he's brilliant young fighter, mentally strong and very, very focused, and he can punch really hard for his size and his weight. I think he'll probably be competing in the super bantamweight division, I would think.
Good division?
Aye, great division, really good division, dead exciting. So aye.
Exciting times ahead then.
Yeah, exciting times ahead for Jack.
Well, let's just jump straight to the nitty-gritty. When I come to speak to you, Alex, I like to get your thought on the world of boxing, not just Scottish boxing, but we'll touch on a little bit of Scottish boxing. But last weekend, the weekend before last, was in Belfast. Huge card, Windsor Park with Carl Frampton and all the rest of it. Tyson Fury. I wanted to jump into the heavyweight scene with Tyson and Wilder. Just want to know your thoughts on that fight and the whole sort of stuff with the weigh-in and all that sort of stuff.
Everything surrounding it.
Everything surrounding it.
Aye, it was. There was a lot of fun going on, and it's great. It's great for the fact that it's putting boxing in the limelight, and I don't really think there's been massive amounts of disrespect there, which is nice. I think both guys do respect each other. I think that Tyson Fury is really happy to be back in the limelight, and rightly so as well. When you think about the stuff that he's came through to get back to where he is, it's quite remarkable, really. When you think he was suffering badly for depression and he went massively overweight, and he made Ricky Hatton look like a choir boy in that area, didn't he? And he's when you think about what he's came back from to be where he is now, it's a remarkable story. And if he can pull off that victory, you've got to consider that as one of the best comebacks in heavyweight boxing ever. It's remarkable, really. Can he and will he do it? He has the ability. He's it's maybe coming a bit quick.
That was going to be my next question, Alex, because he had two fights. He's fought Zefferi, then he's fought Pianetta, and then he's jumping in straight in with Wilder, who's been an active world champion. He's had first fight.
I mean, Tyson Fury's a fighting man. That's what he does for a living. That's what he loves to do. He loves to fight. He loves to box. So he certainly wouldn't turn down this fight or the opportunity to fight this fight. So I think that if the time's right in his mind, then it's right. No matter what anyone else says.
Obviously, I'll take it you did watch the fights last week in the Belfast. I just wanted to know your thoughts on Tyson's performance against Pianetta. Yeah,
he was a tough campaigner, wasn't he? And he wasn't taking a backward step. He landed a fair amount of shots in his own right, and and he looked at no point that Tyson was going to take him out. But I think it was really important that Tyson Fury got the rounds in that he did. I think that was really, really important. And that kind of opponent was, at that point, at that stage, a really good choice of opponent for Tyson to be able to run through things and practice different movement patterns and make sure that he still has the engine to go that amount of rounds. So I think it was really positive.
Okay, so again, I'm going to have to put you on the spot here. That fight with Wilder and Tyson is looking to be in November in Vegas.
Yeah.
Can I get a quick prediction? What's your thoughts on the fight, the outcome and all this sort of stuff? How do you see it playing out?
November, it's quite a while away. I think Tyson Fury's got another couple of stone, I would imagine, that he can afford to lose. I think that if he can get another couple of stone off and, you know, get a wee bit quicker, a wee bit more ring confident, like, I mean, I'm quite sure that he never put everything on the line in his last fight. He's just the kind of guy that springs massive upsets, isn't he? He upsets the apple cart, and I think for boxing in this country it's brilliant, and it will be brilliant if Tyson Fury can get the victory. I really do see him dodging and shuffling his way to a points win.
Much like Klitschko?
Pretty similar. I think that Wilder will get a wee bit annoyed with Tyson Fury's style. I think he'll start to swing. I think he'll overreach. I think Tyson Fury will counter him. I think he'll then grab him after that, and I think that'll follow that kind of pattern throughout. You've obviously got to give Wilder a puncher's chance. He's a huge puncher. He's a massive guy, but I am concerned about his weight for his size. I think he got really light in his last fight. I mean, I think he was like 15 stone something. 15 stone, I think that's far too light for him. His legs looked frighteningly thin, you know. And I don't know what the strategy behind that was. I don't know if he feels more comfortable that way, or if that's the kind of weight that he feels that he can perform better. But I think that that's a mistake. I think he should be a wee bit heavier than what he is.
The 16, 17 stone mark, probably.
I would think so. That's definitely going to work to Tyson Fury's advantage.
He's going to be
for sure. Definitely.
Well, the other heavyweight in this sort of triangle, you've got Wilder, Fury, Anthony Joshua. He's up against Povetkin. Before we talk about that fight, I just want to ask, what's your thoughts on the whole 50 million push to Wilder? They couldn't get that deal done, but then Tyson Fury's came in and the deal was done like that with Shevchenko and Team Wilder. What's your thoughts on all that whole sort of soap opera, so to speak? Yeah,
well, it's a bit embarrassing, I think, on their behalf that they couldn't agree. I mean, it's a huge purse. You know, he did sign it, he didn't sign it. He sent him the contract, he never sent him the contract. You just really don't know, like, what's went on there. But the fact that Anthony Joshua and his team didn't manage to, like, cut the deal, it's a wee bit, it doesn't look great, and then Tyson's came in and the fight's made like that, you know. So what's it a case of? You know,
I think everybody would like to know.
I think everybody would like to know. I mean, I can't even really put my finger on that, you know, why that deal wasn't done. But maybe they're in a position where they're thinking, okay, we'll let Tyson Fury fight him first. It'll look better if Wilder perhaps gets the win. Maybe they think Wilder's going to get the win. Is it going to make the fight even bigger still?
Yeah. The thing is I spoke to Tyson and Wilder over in Belfast, and when I was speaking to them, both of them said that if they both win that fight against each other, they said the next, like, organic fight is against Joshua. But they both said that it's not going to happen. So what's going to force this fight to happen between Anthony Joshua against either Fury? Do you think that the fans might have to get involved in?
Of course. I mean, everyone will get involved to make that fight happen. I mean, if Tyson Fury beats Wilder and the Anthony Joshua fight doesn't happen, that's a massive loss for boxing, especially in this country. Massive loss. And you can rightly sit here and say that the two best fighters of their era didn't fight each other, you know, which is, it's a tragedy, isn't it, really, for boxing. It has to happen. You
think the teams will get together after this whole palaver with this 50 million and stuff like that? Do you think Tyson can get in there and even Wilder maybe a deal finally?
Maybe. And I mean, they need to put all the differences aside, and you know, and I'm quite sure that both the fighters will want the fight. So I think that fighters have got a lot more power in this day and age than what they had before. And I think that if they both say, we want this fight, you guys need to make this happen, I'm quite sure that Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn will have to knock their heads together and come up with some kind of deal.
Well, obviously before, Joshua's got a tough fight to come through anyway, next month against Povetkin. It's a tough fight,
good fighter, technically good. He can punch, clearly, most heavyweights can. Technically he's a good boxer. He's got good amateur pedigree. So it's not the kind of fight that you can like totally write off Povetkin. You can't write him off, especially not this weight, not at that level. But I still do think that Anthony Joshua will probably win by a stoppage. I do think he will win by a stoppage. I think that the timing is right for that, but it still can't be overlooked. Can't be.
When you look at the heavyweight division right now, do you think it's just a shallow pool of talent?
Yeah.
When you compare it to like weight divisions, like it might be a daft question, but you compare it to the welterweight, super middleweights, well, there's fighters, there's like 10, 20 fighters that could win a world title. In the heavyweight division, you're probably looking at Joshua, Tyson, Wilder, maybe Povetkin, and it's not that very deep, is it?
Not just now, I wouldn't say. We've got big Martin Bacoli, a lot of people are claiming him as a...
Billy Nelson would be happy you mentioned his name.
He's basically, he's fighting for Scotland now, almost.
He won a kilt in the ring his last fight.
He won a kilt in the ring his last fight, and I was there, and he's a good big fighter, Good big fighter, he's got great timing for a heavyweight. He can punch, again, a heavyweight, most heavyweights can punch. He seems to be quick enough. I like his style, he can hit to the body. That's interesting as well. He could somewhere come into the mix somewhere along the lines, I would think.
Well, apparently Josh has been saying his praises because he's down there sparring with him just now. So when I've watched Martin Bacoli, I've watched about 5 of his fights now, it doesn't look like he's putting any effort into his punches, but he seems to be getting these guys out.
He
think he's still got out of third gear?
I think he has. I think there's more. I think there's more gears to him. I think that he's made relatively short and easy work. Everybody's been up against so far.
Yeah.
And I would like to see him tested. Obviously, you never really know until these guys are tested. And I do think though that at this point in time, he's definitely got big potential for the future. And Anthony Joshua and stuff wouldn't have him down there. Robert McCracken would not have him down there sparring if he wasn't any good.
Exactly.
He wouldn't have him there.
I must say, Billy Nelson's going to be happy that you mentioned Bacoli. He's been singing his praises from the
I guess so. I never thought of that.
But you spoke about Martin Bacoli being Scottish and that, so let's touch a little bit on the Scottish boxing. Somebody you know very well is Josh Taylor. He's entering the World Boxing Super Series this time round. Some great fighters in that.
There's a lot of good lads in there. There's a lot of good lads.
What's your thoughts on Josh going in?
I do think he's the best fighter there. And I'm not being biased. Everybody says, "Oh, you're so biased towards Josh Taylor," and you never. But like, I just try and be as real and as truthful as I can about the whole thing. And I do honestly think that he's the best fighter in that weight division, and I do think that he's the best light welterweight in the world. And I think he's going to win the competition. And not just because he's Scottish and he's my mate and all this kind of stuff, but.
I get that as well, so don't worry.
I believe it. I genuinely do believe it. I've known Josh since he was a kid, and first time ever laced on a pair of boxing gloves, I was there, and and I believe in him. I believe in his ability, and I just think that he's by far the best fighter in this weight class.
Like, if he gets through Ryan Martin in this first sort of bout, then he fights for a world title against Usyk. Then if he beats that, he gets a world title. Then he goes to the final.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
It could be a two-time world champion.
A two-time world champion by the end of the competition. It's amazing.
It's a great feeling for Josh. I spoke to him on Friday night. He's enjoying it. But the guy that's probably what people are sort of saying is going to be in the final with Josh is Regis Progress. Very stocky southpaw.
He's a good wee fighter. He is good.
So again, what's your thoughts if that is the final? How do you see Josh navigating Progress in the final? Do you see much of Progress?
I have. I've watched some of his fights on YouTube. I think that he's steady. He's solid. He's not a massive puncher, so I don't think that his punch power is anything to worry Josh about. I think the fact that he's a southpaw shouldn't make that much of a difference either. I always hark back to his amateur pedigree. You don't need to look that far when you look at his amateur pedigree. He's came up against every possible style that you can in boxing now, probably. And his last fight would have gave him a lot of confidence, like a world of confidence, to beat Pistol the way he did, and the kind of fight that it was, and the fact that Pistol gave him so much to think about and caused him so many different problems. The fact that Josh was able to overcome them and still get like a later knockdown, and it was that took him to a whole other level again. So I think he's going to be really difficult to stop here.
So you obviously think Josh is going to win.
Aye.
Good stuff.
Aye,
definitely. Well, again, I know you've got your ear to the ground when it comes to Scottish boxing.
Yeah.
Let's not just talk Scottish boxing, but probably UK and Ireland wide. Is any young talent coming through that you've got your eye on and thinking he's a special talent, he's the next superstar or the next world champion or whatnot? Is anyone?
Aye, there's lots just now, I mean, there's loads of young talented fighters. MTK Global are snapping up. The majority of the young guys coming through and doing a fantastic job. And I mean, I'd probably have to say at this point, Lee McGregor Lee's looking fantastic. And of course, again, we need to see him tested. Yeah. But up to this point in time, he's looked brilliant and taking out the people that he's had put in front of him. You can tell his next fight looks to be a bit of a test.
It's not been announced yet, has it? But Lee's been saying that it's going to be a test.
I mean, I think they're talking about him going for some kind of Commonwealth or title or something like that. So I think his next fight is going to be harder than what the last two's been.
And he needs that, doesn't he?
He definitely needs that now. He definitely needs that, without a shadow of a doubt. He's another guy who you can't hold back too much. You can't let him get too comfortable with blowing guys over as well. Yeah. You know, he has to be developing and progressing and learning as a young professional. And sadly, you've got to go through wee bumps in the road to gain that sort of experience and belief in yourself and knowledge that you can come through rough patches and you know and still perform and still win. So but I mean, Scotland and Ireland and England just now seem to be churning out loads of talented young fighters.
Okay, so I want to touch again. We touched on the World Boxing Super Series there with Josh. Yeah. The cruiserweights was won by Alexander Usyk.
Brilliant performance.
What's your thoughts on him against Tony Bellew?
That's a hard fight. That's a hard fight as well. That's a hard fight as well. And I mean, I think the Usyk. I don't think it's too easy for him to make the cruiserweight limit. He's a big dude, and I think that he's, you know, he looks tight when he goes to the weigh-in. Yeah. You know, so I think that'll be more comfortable for him. Tony Bellew is not the kind of guy that worries too much about his physical appearance, does he? As long as his performances are up to scratch, and certainly lately they have been. His last two victories over David Hay have been really impressive. He totally believed that he was going to win, didn't he? You could see it in his eyes, and he done a brilliant job. Usyk's a different kettle of fish, though. You know, well nurtured and for such a young age in the Ukrainian boxing program, Olympic champion, and you know, and like a proper athlete. You know, like a world class athlete as well. You know, and trains really hard, and his engine for his size is unbelievable. I mean, he keeps the punches coming out. You know, he's like a big Lomachenko, like a big, huge Lomachenko. Yeah. You know, I know they trained together, and I think Lomachenko's dad was maybe even.
Yes, right, yeah.
Maybe even Usyk's coach. So, yeah, you see flashes of that in his boxing, and it's a difficult, but you can't ever write Tony Bellew off, can you? You can never write him off, and he's such a dangerous puncher as well, and you know, he's got that element of crazy, hasn't he? Everybody's like, he has just got that element of crazy, you know, that mad scouse man, you know, it's just like, probably not got a bit of fear in his body about Usyk. He's probably like, I'll knock him out.
We said that, hasn't he? Sorry, Alex, the battery was going to go there, so I thought I would just kickstart it back in. Talking about Usyk and Bellew, you said Bellew's crazy.
Aye.
Got that mad scouse thing. So
aye.
Do you think that he could give Bellew a run for his money, especially at heavyweight?
I think that's a really interesting fight. Yeah. That's a really interesting fight, and that'll be a really good fight to watch, because you know Tony Bellew's he's got a lot of guile and he's cagey, and he's got a lot of experience now as well, and he's got a lot of self-belief. Tony Bellew really does believe in his power. He believes in his ability. And like I said before, he's got a bit of that mad, crazy scouse guy in him. So I don't think that Tony Bellew will be fazed at all by Usyk. That's the kind of guy he is, you know. Yeah. And I think that when you've got that kind of self-belief and you've got that kind of power, I think that you can make things happen for yourself that another fighter couldn't. Yeah. You know, and I think that if anybody can beat Usyk, it would be Tony Bellew.
Again, how do you see? We talked about the heavyweight division being a shallow pool of talent, there's only certain names, like top 5 guys you can think that can win a world title, maybe.
Yeah.
So how do you see Usyk fitting into that heavyweight scene?
That's difficult. Like where to put him, because he's never fought a heavyweight before, and and these guys they're different animals altogether, aren't they? They're huge and they're fast as well, and they can punch. And so it's difficult to say right now where Alexander Usyk would fit in there. I can't really put him there at the minute. I can't really even see him, competing against any of these guys. I think the Tony Bellew fight will be the fight that determines whether or not he can be successful at heavyweight. And if he can't beat Tony Bellew, then he's not going to beat any of the monsters, is he? Those huge 6'7" guys that that.
That's the modern heavyweight.
Aye. That's what it is now. That's what all these guys are. It's difficult to say where you could put him right now in the heavyweight division. The Tony Bellew fight will answer all the questions.
Okay then, well, not away from the heavyweight scene, a guy that you know very well, touching back in Belfast last week, Reed Paddy Barnes. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Carl Frampton's win, possibly him fighting Warrington, and then maybe touch on Paddy.
Well, I was gutted. I was gutted for Paddy. Brilliant guy, absolutely brilliant fighter as well, world class amateur, and was developing and turning into a really good pro. It still is. So, see these body shots, in the lighter weight classes, they can just ruin a fighter.
Yeah. And
it wasn't like, it was set up and Paddy was tired and the fight had been dragging on and he'd been getting wore down. He looked very, very good early on in the fight. He looked quite comfortable.
A number of people had him winning.
I had him winning myself. Thought he was a round or two up, but I probably wouldn't have stood and traded as much, as he did. I think he put himself in situations. He allowed Rosales, was he?
Yeah.
He allowed him. He kind of allowed him to get off shots that he probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
I think he could have boxed a wee bit more in the early rounds and used his skills. He's a tremendously skillful boxer. But I think he stood in the pocket a wee bit too long. But what a brave guy, for that amount of pro fights to step up to the plate and take on a world title like that, a world champion like that.
Sick fight as well.
And that body shot was a beauty. It was an absolute corker, wasn't it?
You were a body puncher, so
yeah. Well, I mean, to get hit back with them it's not a pleasant experience at all. And it landed flush and it was heavy. And Paddy seemed to be quite blind to it on the side that he was on.
But he threw his own leg through the body at the time, didn't he?
And it kind of came right round and under the rib. And Jim Wattles used to say, you can't train your stomach for them. You can do all the sit-ups in the world or all the strength training you want, but you can't prepare to get hit like that. You can't prepare, and if it catches you at the right time and you're maybe breathing out and you're a wee bit relaxed and your central nervous system isn't tight, then these shots will drop anyone. And it's the worst, because you know what's happening, you're completely coherent, you know what's going on round about you, but you can't get your breath. And sadly it took a wee bit longer than 10 seconds for Paddy to recover, and he just didn't make it. It's a shame, real shame.
Well, I've only been dropped twice by a body shot, and that was between Paul Appleby sparring and Tommy Philbin, so I'll give them a shout for dropping me with body shots. Again, Carl Frampton, another guy you know quite well. Great wee fighter, got a great performance against Luke Jackson. But there's now talks, Frank Warren basically said the fight's made against Josh Warrington.
Easy fight to make. That's a brilliant fight. That's a brilliant fight. Commentated on Josh Warrington a couple of times, and of course followed Carl Frampton almost his whole career. That's a brilliant fight. That's a great blend of styles, a great gel, a great mix. Josh Warrington he's really quick, he's got brilliant volume, throws loads of punches, plenty of variety in his game. And Carl Frampton looks like he's actually improving, looks like he's getting even better than what he was before. He's looking brilliant. And he's another guy with a brilliant mindset. He believes in his ability, and he's super tough, and he can punch hard for his weight and his size. He's developing into a big featherweight now. You can see a wee bit of difference in his physique, and he's a wee animal, isn't he? I think he just loves to fight. You'd take Carl Frampton in a fight with anybody, wouldn't you? You'd expect him to leave a room no matter who you put him in there. You'd expect him to walk out no matter what size he is. So That's a brilliant fight. That's a really, really exciting matchup. Josh Warrington at this point as well, his confidence will be sky high. Of course, and another guy that I rate very, very highly. I thought Lee Selby is and was a fantastic world champion. I think that Lee Selby stayed at the weight too long. Stayed at featherweight far too long. He's massive. He's the next biggest featherweight I've ever seen, next to Scott Harrison. Yeah, he's a huge guy. Oh, I'm kicking the camera there.
With equipment.
So that's a really, really interesting fight. But like again, I say Lee Selby just hung around at featherweight that wee bit too long, and it probably should have been up at super feather maybe a year or two ago.
Did you not hang about featherweight? Did you feel like you hung about featherweight too long?
Far too long. Yeah. Far too long. years too long. But of course, you kind of, you know, when you've won the titles and you're coming through British, Commonwealth, European or whatever, and you know, and you're working your way up towards that. Sometimes you feel like, you know, there's no point in going up a weight now. You know, back then it was kind of like you were starting again, where now you can kind of like jump up and just get straight in there if you're a established champion already to a big title fight or a world title shot. So I think that's definitely what's happened with Lee Selby. He's hung around that featherweight division far too long, and he just couldn't perform at the weight anymore. You can always make the weight. You know, I could probably still make 9 stone 4, but I probably could still make 9 stone 4.
The camera's on you and they can see how big.
But when I stand in the ring, I'd probably take a jab and fall down. But you can always make the weight. Whether you can perform at the weight is another story. It's another story. Most people can make the weight, and Lee Selby did and could make the weight, but he couldn't perform to his usual standard.
I think Lee might agree, but I think Lee's already echoed what you've said as well in the past. So when you look at Carl Frampton against Warrington, who comes out the victor on that one then? If I have to press you for a prediction.
I would say Carl Frampton. Frampton, definitely. Harder puncher. There's more to his overall game. You know, Carl Frampton can box, he can fight, he sets traps really well. Sets traps really, really well. He's got a great engine, physically very, very strong. So I have to go with Carl Frampton, definitely.
Good stuff. Well, let's step outside. Let's go across. Let's talk about the fight. A huge fight that we spoke about before, but I want to reiterate it. Is the Canelo Golovkin 2 fight.
Brilliant. Super exciting. Again, apart from the fact that all the nonsense that happened recently and the build up and stuff like that, and you know, I think it's became quite heated now. I think they genuinely have lost a lot of respect for each other. And I think that'll make for a better fight with these two guys, because I think that the tactics that Canelo employed on the first fight were to box and move and, you know, lead Triple G onto some big shots, which he did. And some of the shots that he landed were fantastic. On the night, watching the fight, I actually thought that maybe Triple G had maybe just nipped it, just with the aggression and, you know, and the volume of punching, and you know, he never really took a backward step. But then when I watched it back and I seen some of Canelo's combinations and how many clean shots he landed, and his work ethic, you know, he had to work much harder than Triple G in that fight, and I definitely had a different outlook on the fight. And I think that next time round, if the fight takes a similar kind of pattern early on, I think that Canelo will maybe try and put his foot on the gas a wee bit later this time, and try and run out, you know, steal the rounds. You know, he seemed to be in survival mode a wee bit at the end of the last fight. You know, and I when I say survival mode, I don't mean he was like hanging on for dear life, or I just think he was just trying to do enough. I think this time, I think this time it'll be a case where he tries to leave it all in the ring.
So do you think Triple G's, people are talking about his age and all that sort of stuff, and he looked old in that fight.
He did a bit.
Do you think that's going to be the same thing, or do you think he's got the bit between his teeth now and he's really sort of maybe not peed off that
I think
drug test and whatnot?
I think he'll be more up for it. I mean, I'm quite sure that the testing's been quite stringent, recently. I think that they probably would have been on it a bit. But I mean, again, like even that was hugely controversial. You know, just to find trace elements, what I believe to be like an asthma drug
Yeah.
It's a drug that they use to lose weight. It's not a drug that can build muscle. It's not an anabolic steroid.
Does it not enhance your lung capacity as well?
That's what they were saying.
Yeah.
It enhances your lung capacity. So I would imagine that you could probably maybe train longer and harder.
Yeah.
I would think.
Fight longer and harder.
But then a lot of the experts that I've spoke to have also said that it would give you really bad cramp.
Right.
That particular drug would give you really, really bad cramp. It can also cramp your heart, and it increases your heart rate. So you would get exhausted way faster. Although you can get more air in your lungs, you get tired quicker. So I didn't really see how that's performance enhancing. You would just rather go without that. And somebody, an expert that I know in that field, was saying it's the equivalent to drinking like 30 cups of coffee or something like that. And you certainly wouldn't feel like you probably want to run to the toilet.
We're going to get a coffee just now. Yep, after this.
I can't believe you never brought it up.
I couldn't remember if it was a latte or a flat white, so I'll get you one next. Let's look at you, staying in America and stateside. Like Eddie Hearn's sort of branched out there. Just want you to know how well do you think Eddie will do out there? He's done well over this side of the pond. How well do you think he would do over there?
And by the way, I think Canelo will win on points.
Oh, there you go.
I think he might win a split decision this time. In a really close fight. Anyway, back to Eddie Hearns, what he's up to in America. Brilliant. I've been working at DAZN. The people that he's hooked up with, I've been commentating for them with Nick Collin. We've been going out live to Canada and the States.
You done a fight recently, did you?
I did. I can't remember what fight it was now. It was the heavyweights. It was Dillian White and Joseph Parker. We've done that. I've done Can. I've done Joshua Parker as well. So I've been working with them for a while now, and it's brilliant. They're great to work with, great guys, great setup, and it's a massive deal. I mean, it's absolutely huge. Eddie Hearn's going from strength to strength, isn't he? He really is. He's doing a fantastic job for his fighters and for his business and for his stable. And how can you say anything negative about the deals that he's cut?
Great for boxing.
It's great for boxing. Yeah. It's great for boxing. As long as boxing's winning, it's the main thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, I probably won't keep you much longer because you're probably gasping on that coffee. Have you got anything you'd like to add? Anything else?
No, not really.
The Sweet Science boys will probably want.
Aye. All my old mates the Southside are doing great bunch of lads. I'm always repping at their kit. We're waiting on the tracksuits coming still, lads.
Yeah, I've got 3 t-shirts on order as well, so you can get them in as well.
Brilliant, great stuff.
Well, Alex, again, thank you very much for doing this for me.
Pleasure.
I enjoy my time in the gym with you, so let's go and get that coffee.
Thanks, my man.